Start now. I think we are live. So don't know how many people have joined us just yet, because it takes a while. I mean, it is in the afternoon, but some people are still maybe waking up, but who knows anymore? Coming in from the garden and sunbathing. But hello to anybody who has joined us before for our virtual coffee and chat, mornings, afternoons, just whenever. But today we have none other than Director of Campaigns and Youth Engagement, Claire Bracey. Hey, Claire.
Hi, Anna. Hi, everyone.
So Claire works in the team, kind of doing all things campaigns for us. So we'll get into chatting about that later because I'm excited to learn about it too. But I just want to kind of recap why we're doing this. Obviously, the world is a little bit of a weird and a somewhat overwhelming place right now. So we thought we would have kind of these virtual sessions so we can update both supporters, people who work for or with us, and also just people who want to find out how we're coping and how we're adapting and how we're kind of helping those still in need, young people and children. So first off, Claire, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I work in the campaigns team at the Children's Society. I've been here about 6 years now. So fantastic team to work with. I'm really pleased that I'm going to be able to tell you a little bit about what we do and some of our sort of actions that we've got live at the moment. Yeah.
That's wicked. Because for people who haven't caught any of the previous ones, we've had Jenkins, who is director of, I always get the wrong order, engagement and impact. No, income.
Yeah.
Go on. So he kind of spoke about fundraising and how we're still trying to fill the income gap. And then we had Chief Executive Mark Russell last week. So, I mean, we talked about everything and anything, including what West Wing character he thinks he is. So we thought, why not? Let's talk a bit more about campaigns and how campaigns can be powerful and how one little action can make a big difference, because we may not necessarily have the money we want to give over to charities that we care about, but there is other things that you as an individual can do which can support not only the mission but also the charity itself and kind of give that extra support. And especially as we're all from home at the moment, well, most of us, it's like, how can we do it from our front room right now? So that's what we'll be getting onto later on. But first things first, Claire, as well, how are you coping with lockdown at the moment? Where are you in the country, actually?
Yeah, so I'm in Bedford, a really lovely area of the country. So yeah, in Bedford, it's me, my son and my cat. Actually, my cat has been driving me up the wall a little bit. She wants to get involved in all the meetings I'm having. So whenever she hears a new voice, you know, she's scratching at the door, getting in the way of the screen. So yeah, that's been a particular challenge that I've been having at the moment. But yeah, generally, like most people, just sort of keeping busy. It's lovely weather, so I've been really lucky to get out. I've got a small, tiny courtyard garden, but that's been an absolute joy to sort of get out there and catch some sunshine when I can. So that's been good.
Yeah, I think it is. I know that I'm fortunate enough that I've got a little bit of a garden as well, and it has made like a huge difference. The weather, just being able to go outside, like forcing yourself to go and do your daily bit of exercise. Like I did my first run at the weekend, which I didn't like. I don't know why people run.
Yeah, I'm not a runner either, Anna. No, I prefer to get on my bike really. And
yeah, or a nice brisk walk. I don't like to hear my breath, the heavy breathing, but so, you know, it's helping a lot of people at the moment. But also don't ever apologize for if your cat makes an appearance, because I'm missing my pet so much back with my mum. So if your cat did make an appearance, that would be guest of honor I think.
She's actually having a nap at the moment. I gave her a big lunch, so she's sort of sleeping it off right now. I was hoping that might keep her quiet for a bit. Yeah.
I love that. Literally like a child. I love that. That's great. Well, if anybody who's watching at the moment is watching with their pets, please, I welcome any photos. Because who knows, maybe we'll do a pet feature in the future, because I would really like that. Just to see some furry faces or scaly faces. If you've got a reptile, or maybe not a spider, I don't really want to see them. Could work, but anyway. So let's get into the, I don't want to say tough topic, but let's get into kind of the bread and butter of this. So one of the reasons why we thought it would be brilliant to talk to you is I want to learn everything about campaigns that you can give to me as a newbie. Because I'm sure some other people who are watching maybe don't know much about campaigns, and maybe they stray away from politics because they don't feel like it's their natural knowledge set, really. So can you tell us a bit about campaigning and what your team actually does, please?
Yeah, sure. So I suppose at a very basic level, campaigning is about changing something so that it works better. So at the Children's Society, we see all the time the kind of systems that young people come into contact with in their lives. So there's the education system, the care system, the immigration system, the health system, like so many different systems. And all of these systems impact on the lives that young people have. So I guess what we are trying to do through our campaigning is change those systems. They're working better for young people and they're responding better to young people. And I suppose the main way that we do that is through actually mobilising supporters and partners to be able to speak out on those issues, raise those issues with decision makers. So that's often like your local MP or your local councillor, for example, so that we can get those issues on the agenda and get those systems changed so that they work better for young people. That's basically, in a nutshell, what campaigning is.
So your team kind of gives people the know-how and the knowledge and the resources to do such things then, and to kind of prove to people the power of campaigning.
Yeah, and you said it earlier, actually. I think the absolutely brilliant thing about campaigning is that every single person can take part. You don't need to have a particular skill or expertise. And if one person just does a really simple, easy action, like email their MP, that's fantastic. If we're all doing those small, easy actions, then together, the impact that we can have is huge. And together we can really make changes, really positive changes that will impact the young people. So I think, you know, that's what's so brilliant about it, is that we can all do it. You don't need to have any particular skills. It's really easy.
Yeah.
I'll show you how easy it is later as well. Yeah.
Brilliant little segue for later then. Yeah, like Claire said, we will get into that later about what we can all do as individuals and where the need really is. But I know some people will be really interested to know, we're doing all of this for the future of young people and how they're coping right now, but do young people, whether they're service users or just someone who's interested, do they ever get involved and take part in the campaigns?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, that's probably my favourite part about the job, is getting to work with young people. But they'll do that in different ways, and it will depend for every campaign. And it will also depend on, you know, what that young person is interested in doing. So I would say all of our campaigns are informed by young people, by their experiences. So, for example, we have the youth engagement team, which is an absolutely amazing team in the organisation. What they help us do is to go and consult with young people so that we can find out what's happening in their lives and make sure that the campaigns that we're running are informed by those experiences. And so they're authentic, and also so that we know what changes we're asking for are things that are actually going to be helpful, that they're going to benefit those young people. There's lots of examples of young people getting involved. So, for example, making films, writing blogs, writing poems to support the campaign. A really brilliant experience I had a couple of years ago. I don't know if you've heard of Chicken Shed Theatre.
No, that sounds, I mean, I love the name already.
Yeah. So Chicken Shed Theatre is a theatre group in London. So it's made up of young people. And a couple of years ago, they wanted to support one of our campaigns. So what they did is they choreographed this amazing dance performance to, I think it was to a Stormzy track. And they made this brilliant dance and we took them to Parliament. And so they did this show for MPs and peers. And the thing about Parliament is that, there's lots of meetings, there's lots of roundtables. So to see these young people perform a performance to, get across the issues of our campaign was just a brilliant, brilliant highlight. And they did it so well. And you had all the MPs and peers nodding along to the Stormzy track. So that was a real highlight. But even right now, we're working within our services. There's 2 groups of young people that we're supporting to run their own campaigns on issues that they care about. So there's a wide variety of ways that young people might get involved. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds brilliant. I think that's so powerful because too often the people who are talking about young people's issues are so far removed from what's actually occurring that sometimes as a young person, they might feel, well, no one's actually really listening to me. And you kind of see that with the climate change protest. That was led by the most brilliant people, and they were all so young. So I think it's really, really good to see about the involvement of young people, because at the end of the day, they know what they want, and their views are so valuable. And it shows them that people are listening to them, and shows them almost representation of themselves as well.
Yeah, I think
I definitely check that out.
Yeah, I think that's really important. I also think that people are able to express it better than we can sometimes. So quite often we'll take groups of young people to Parliament to speak directly to decision makers, and I think that is a really powerful thing. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So is there any issues that are really, really, I don't want to say important because obviously all issues are important, but is there anything particularly that at the Children's Society we're focusing on a lot due to the current situation?
Yeah, I think, and I'm sure lots of people this will resonate with, I think young people are feeling really isolated right now. That's going to be impacting on their mental health and well-being. I think a big concern is that some young people, because of this situation, are less safe than they were before. Some might be isolating in families where domestic abuse is happening, and there's nowhere for them to escape. I think families might be under more extreme pressure than ever before right now, and because schools are closed and social care, is under stress. These young people are probably not getting the support that they need right now. So I think they are more at risk. They're also more hidden than they were before because we're all isolating. And I think the other big issue is, families are struggling financially, probably even more so now. And that means that children might be going hungry. It means they might not have access to computers or phones to be able to carry on with their education or keep in touch with friends. And it's really important that we can stay connected to people. So I think there are lots of challenges that young people are facing right now.
Yeah, it's really tough because you hear when schools were being shut, I remember thinking, oh, I bet kids are gonna love that, staying at home. But actually, for people who have a safe family environment, it's still impactful for them, especially if they're worried about school, if they're just if they're an only child, not having that connection with people their own age. And then, like you said, that for many young people across the country, it's that their house isn't the safest place for them right now, and that could be due to family circumstances, or anything really. And we do forget that school is such a safety net for thousands of children out there. I've got, and somebody's just asked wickedly the next question I was going to ask already. So for people who follow the Children's Society on social media, they may have been seeing something pop up about Lifeline. Heard that quite a lot. And then there's been a word bubbling around, well, not bird, but not word, but the NRPF, which is the No Recourse to Public Funds. Can you explain to us a bit about what that means and how the Children's Society are impacted by it and what we're doing right now?
Yeah, so yeah, no recourse to public funds. It's a strange word, isn't it? Basically, we've launched this campaign because right now we are seeing that thousands of children are facing extreme poverty because of their parents' immigration status, which means they're not able to access financial support that they need right now. So it's known as the no recourse to public funds condition. And basically what that means that if they can't work during this crisis, they can't access benefits. And that is leaving families destitute and desperate. So what the campaign is calling on is for the government to suspend that condition, the no recourse to public funds condition, during this crisis, so that those families can get the support that they actually need. Yeah, that makes
So I suppose what's really important about why it's so important right now is that, like you said, because of schools shutting and because of some people having to not being able to work at the moment, those kids from those families are quite heavily affected right now in ways that we wouldn't normally think about. So what if sorry about my bumbling. This is all new to me, so I'm so interested about this. What those people who are in those situations before, what would they do really if they are from a family of if they're a family of immigrants and they're not being able to get work and stuff like that? You're saying that they're not allowed to receive any help, really? Is that really it?
Yeah, so maybe it'd help if I explained a bit more what public funds are and what that means, because it is quite a complicated issue. But basically, by public funds, what we mean is the sort of financial support that families that are on a low income or who are struggling with essential living costs that they might get. So that's benefits like universal credit, it might be child benefit, tax credits, access to emergency crisis support like local welfare assistance schemes. So those public funds are very particular things that allow people to access that financial support. I think the other thing about people that have the no recourse to public funds condition, many of them might well be working, but they might be on low income jobs or 0 hours contracts. And I think, in this particular situation that we're in right now, those jobs are particularly at risk. They might also be, in the past, they've certainly, before this situation happened, they were struggling before then to access support. So this situation has really just kind of made that worse and highlighted that even more. And definitely many families were relying on the help of charities and particularly food banks, for example.
Yeah, now there are so many different groups of people who are having to use those services right now. So the demand is bigger than ever. So so like you mentioned before, we at the Children's Society are kind of asking people to ask the government to kind of put a pause to this so that families can get access to the help that they need and that they deserve, really. So what kind of person do? We're saying ask the government. So what can someone like me do to help support this campaign?
So very easy. You can do something that will take you less than a minute. We have a campaign action. Hopefully we can maybe bring a link up so that people can access that really easily. So all you have to do is put in your name and your postcode. When you click next, it will bring up the name of your MP, and there'll be a letter there that we've already drafted to go to your MP. You can change that if you want to say something else, but if you're happy with what's written there, you just click submit and your MP will get a letter about this issue. And what that's asking your MP to do is to write to the Home Office to raise this issue. Obviously, the more MPs that contact the Home Office about this, the more pressure that we can add on the government to do something about it.
That sounds quite easy, really.
Easy, yeah.
Easy. So for someone like me, for instance, who doesn't know much about politics, and you hear about MPs like saying that they give their support to this and this campaign, how would you express to somebody who doesn't know much about politics how much of an impact this does make for me to write to my MP? Have you got any kind of examples of how MPs have brought issues like this to light and what they do?
Yeah, so I think a really important thing to remember is that MPs are our elected representatives. There's probably been a lot of voting that we've done over the last few years, maybe more than we would like. But they're elected by us to represent us, and we're their constituents. So MPs expect to hear from their constituents about the issues that they care about. It's helpful for MPs to hear about those issues. And obviously, by writing to the Home Office, whereas the Home Office might not write to an individual, they will respond to MPs. And so obviously, the more letters they get, the more contact they get about this, they know that it's an issue that lots of people will be caring about, and it all adds to the pressure. The other thing that MPs often do to support our campaigning is they can ask questions in Parliament, so they can raise it directly with ministers in Parliament as well. So all of that pressure, it really does help. It really does make a difference.
Suppose, you kind of forget as an individual what impact you can have. It's kind of the same as fundraising. If you encourage somebody to donate the equivalent of what they'd spend in a cafe on a coffee, people think, oh, what's £3 going to do? But you have to remember that as an individual, it's the power of a movement. So if every individual does that action, like you said, if you write to your MP just using a simple link that we put on the website, it's already done for you. And it goes to your MP, shows your MP what you're interested in. And all it takes is one email, because that MP could suddenly say, actually, yeah, I've not thought about it like that. And that kind of works the same about all of our campaigns, really. Is there any examples of past campaigns or biggest impact that you're the most proud of that working at the Children's Society has shown you, or just anything that you look back and you go, that was incredible?
That's a really hard question, because I'm proud of all of the work that we do. We actually, on our website, there's a document called The Change We Make. Again, maybe share the link, but that sort of goes through all the different campaign and policy wins that we've had over the last few years. So it shows you that the change that we've all had together, not just us, but because of our supporters taking action as well. I suppose if I had to pick, I always tend to go with some of the more recent ones, probably because I've got really bad memory. So I think one campaign that I'd really want to highlight is a local campaign where we were asking local authorities to exempt care leavers from paying council tax until they're 25. And the reason we did that is, going back to how we work, we consulted with young people. We were talking to them about debt. And one of the things that they said that we hadn't really considered was that council tax was the biggest issue for them. It was a scary bill. They didn't know about it. It comes, once a year, and many of them were getting into debt to be able to sort of pay their council tax. So one of the things that, we thought would be really beneficial would be if those young people who are, in the care of a local authority, if they could be exempted for a short period, whilst they're able to sort of get the help to manage their finances, they'd really benefit. Now, the issue with local campaigning, unlike national, is that you have to contact individual local authorities and sort of pick them off one by one. So what's been brilliant is that today, I think about 130 local authorities have all introduced that policy. And because of that, you can see the absolute direct impact that that's going to have on those young people. And to hear those young people who were saying to us, they were so excited when they heard that had happened. Something that might seem quite small, but actually is of huge benefit. So yeah, that's been a real highlight.
I was just about to say, like something like council tax, I became aware of it when I was a student, and I was excited because as a student, you didn't have to pay this bill. And then obviously when you then get your first job, then you're like, oh yeah, this adult thing I've got to do is just pay my council tax. And you just kind of think, oh yeah, it's once a year. I'll be a bit annoyed, it'll be a bit of a dent in my bank account. But if you're not prepared for it, and if you are, like you said, just coming out of care, that is a huge deal. And like you said, little things like this may not seem necessarily a big thing, but to that individual, it's a huge thing. Like I remember about the school uniform campaign you guys did. It's something that when I was at school, my skirt was so expensive, and luckily, my family could afford that skirt. But I, as a child, didn't know how much of a dent it was to a bank account to pay for 2 kids for a school uniform. And then, when I'm now an adult, I don't really think about it. But to that individual's family, whether you have 1 kid or you have 5 kids, that is a lot of money, really, and you just don't think in the grand schemes of things.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's a campaign that we haven't actually won yet, but we're definitely making progress. So for people that might not be aware of that one, we launched a campaign to cut the cost of school uniforms. So the idea there would be making sure that schools were going out to different suppliers, or providing ways, instead of having to buy branded blazers, they could just sell some logo that you sew on. So to try and make those uniforms a bit cheaper. So that's one where the government have agreed, and now we're at the stage where we just have to sort of figure out how we make that law and get that turned into law. So hopefully we'll see some more good news over the next year on that one. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And that's all because people literally clicked on a button that said, yeah, email my MP. That's incredible what that managed to do. Do you keep track of how many MPs have been contacted? So Hannah Ratcliffe, hi, has asked, do we know how many people have contacted their MP so far in terms of the Lifeline appeal?
Yeah, so far, I think we had a look this morning, and it was, I think, just over 3,000 people have contacted their MPs, which is fantastic. That's really good. But obviously, we would like more, but that's really good. It will depend, again, for each campaign. Like the last campaign that we ran, the Cut the Cost one, because of our supporters, we were able to contact every single MP in England. So we want to make sure that we can do that again with this campaign. And it doesn't matter if the MP is already being contacted by somebody else. If they get more than one person contacting them from their area, that's also good. So yeah, so it's got off to a good start, but obviously we would love more people to take action.
That's brilliant. Well, time flies when you're learning so much information. We decided to do, in case you missed it at the beginning, just a bit of a smaller segment this time, because this is a completely new thing for all of us at the Children's Society. So we just wanted to see if people would prefer a smaller segment of half an hour to rather than an hour. So we're so thankful that Claire was able to join us spare a bit of her time today to talk to us about all things campaigns. So if you do have any questions, I'm sure if you post in the group, we can ask Claire and we can reply back to you guys. But like Claire said, please, every little email helps for our new Lifeline campaign. So we will post more about it in the group so you guys can look and get involved. But thank you so much, Claire, for your time. I think you're going to have a few more people hopefully clicking and maybe becoming campaign champions. Who knows?
That would be amazing. That would be great.
Brilliant. Well, again, guys, thank you all so much for watching. We've just run out of time. So join us next week where I think we're going to be talking all things supporters and how they're fundraising. So thank you, everybody, guys, and see you next week.